Hello everyone, it's Meredith from Sweet Slumber, and I want to talk to you today about newborn sleep. So, when you think of newborn sleep, for those of you who are in it, you already know, very well acquainted with how crazy it is. But for other people who might be watching this video whose children are already a little older, when you think of newborn sleep, you just think of a very sleepy baby, holding a baby all the time, a baby who wants to be held, who's going to sleep better in your arms. And so that's what most people think of, and it's not really a time to worry about sleep habits or a time to worry about schedules or having this child sleep through the night. Even though you might want and you think of it, it's really not time to think about that. So there are times when that happens. There's times when a child will sleep really well early on, and those parents are the luckiest parents ever, and it's pretty rare. You might know people who that happened to, but if you looked at all of your community, it would be very rare. So it's a time to just survive. It really is. You get through the day-to-day, you get through the weeks, really, because the weeks go pretty quick, don't they? Except for at nighttime. And if your child has night and day mixed up, oh my gosh, it's even worse. So one way to take care of that, the first and most important thing is to make sure your child's getting up around the same time in the morning and that you're using light and dark as cues. So that will really help your child have the circadian rhythm programmed and working in his or her favor. And it also just helps them to really, it's just about the body understanding and recognizing the light and the dark. So you want to open the curtains, you want to have your child sitting in the sunlight next to the window. If you have weather that's decent, go outside during the day. You can darken a room for naps, that's just fine. And then at nighttime, for sure, make sure that the room is really nice and dark. So, but getting them up in the morning around the same time within about a half an hour tops will really help. And when I say morning, I mean like sometime between 6 and 9 in the morning, okay? There are exceptions. Some people in other countries, their children go to bed later. If your work schedule means your child goes to bed later, don't stress about that. It's okay, as long as your child's getting 11 or 12 hours of sleep. You may not be able to take advantage of sunlight and dark as much, but just do your best, okay? People come to me with that concern because there's so much pressure to make sure your child goes to bed early, but there's other things that you can do. Okay, so let's see. One other thing that's really important to talk about is how there are children who absolutely want to be held the first few months. So we call that fourth trimester. Those babies are just like, hey, I did not want to get out of the womb yet. I just want to be held. I just want to be close to you. So you definitely want to use a carrier or a sling or something so that you can still function. Your child can sleep like that. It's okay. You know, a lot of people come to me also saying, I spoiled my baby in the beginning. This is all my fault. My child doesn't want to be put down and it's my fault. But I actually don't believe that's true because of the fourth trimester and what I see. There's also a personality trait where children can be extremely attached and need that physical closeness to you. So that's not no one's fault. That's just how your child is. And so the thing to do is to respond to it. But you get pressure from outside influences that say, oh, you need to lay your baby down. Oh, you're going to spoil your baby. Oh, it's your fault. But no, babies and children need touch. They need to be held. That's how they thrive. So you're listening to instincts when you respond and take care of those needs. Okay, so we've covered that. Another thing, there's mental leap around 5 or 6 weeks, 8 or 9 weeks, 11, 12 weeks, and again around 14 or 15 weeks, okay? Mental leaps are when your baby's brain is changing and it's understanding new concepts. It might even affect the physicality of your baby, so helping your baby start to roll and move and swing those arms and legs. So when you look at the mental leaps, you'll see, oh, your baby's learning this other stuff with physical skills too. But the mental changes and advancing of the brain are going to affect sleep. So that's when we're going to say, oh my gosh, my child was doing well. We were getting 3 or 4 hours of sleep at a time, and now it's every hour, it's every half an hour, or I'm trying to respond to my baby's cues, but he's not napping well, or he's just taking cat naps in my arms. And there's so many frustrating pieces to life and to sleep during a mental leap. So at those early stages, they're only a week long or so. There could be like a growth spurt at the same time, which is when your child is eating like a pig and then sleeping a lot. And so if that happens at the same time, then your mental leap slash growth spurt could, be a week and a half to 2 weeks. But most of the time it's around a week for most people. A lot of people don't see leaps. They don't even know they're happening. It depends on the sensitivity of the child. So in my successful sleep group, I see it all the time. It's like all the time because I'm working with the babies that aren't so easygoing and that have more needs. So before this group, before my career, I had a daycare and I had my own 5 children I raised, and I really didn't know about mental leaps. So I think when you look at your community, mental leaps aren't as common, but it happens to a lot of people. So all babies are having mental leaps. So I said that wrong, but I mean like all the signs of mental leaps happen to a lot of babies, and we know that they're happening, and it's really disrupting sleep. So a side note, when your child's older, sometimes your child will act just like they did in a leap, but it'll be because of teething. They look a lot alike. Fighting sleep, skipping naps, short naps, take a long time to fall asleep, a lot of attempts to get them to sleep. Sometimes they go to bed late. Sometimes, not sometimes, all the time, they wake up more often at night. And then the mood changes. They're more fussy and clingy and needy and intense. And then we could have wakeful periods in the night and early waking. So do you see how bad it could be and why it's important for parents to know that's happening? Because you're going to just kill yourself saying, what did I do wrong? What did I change? What was I doing right yesterday that I'm not doing now? You know what I mean? I hear that all the time. It's like one of the hardest mindsets to change. So please understand that during mental leaps and teething, patterns don't work. You have to lower your standards. You have to do something to be good to yourself. So you want to take breaks. If there's a mental leap and your child responds to it really badly, I usually tell parents to take a break once a day. So that's like, go for a walk for a nap. Use the carrier for one nap. Go for a drive for a nap. That way you're not just doing this all day long. If you have to do it more than once because your little baby takes so many naps, then do so, okay? Make sure you have someone helping you at night so that you're able to get some sleep. Okay, so I did not mean to make this video so long or to cover so many things. I really just want to give you some hints at what matters in the first few months when you have a newborn. Some people aren't going to know, newborn is, in my mind, it's 3 months, but it might just be a month. Okay, this is going to be a blooper, but I dropped my remote, sorry. Okay, so here's what you need to know besides the day and night thing and trying to help your child wake up at the same time in the morning. You also really, really need to learn your child's cues. And I actually want you to throw out everything you know about sleep cues right now, because most people just think of yawning and eye rubbing and breastfeeding, like nuzzling means my baby's sleepy. But there's so many other things. I actually want you to watch your child around the same time that they go to sleep for naps, So say your child is usually awake for 30 minutes. I want you to watch your child around 20 to 30 minutes and just be totally keen, be observant on what's happening with your child. Don't even worry about the yawning or the eye rubbing, okay? Watch your child for patterns. Is your child acting a certain way? Is your child making a funny noise? Is your child moving his or her body a different way? So like kicking hard or just acting restless or maybe slowing down. I'm serious when I say funny noises. There could be some funny, squawky, yelling noises. It could just be that they stare or they get quieter. Some babies will just fuss a little bit and then keep playing. So the sign can be super, super subtle. The most common one is pink around the eyebrows and the eyes, at least what I've seen. And so if you can pick up on things like that, then you're going to be able to get your child laying down at the right time and not miss the sleep window. So what I want you to do also is to take notes and observe which sleep cues are the most effective. So if you see the pink around the eyes and you try and get your child to sleep and it works really well, then you've figured out a really good cue. Your child goes to sleep fast, easily, less fussing, takes a better nap. I wouldn't expect it to necessarily affect how good the nap is the first time, but if you keep doing it at that same cue and the sleep gets better, then you've definitely found your gold mine. So do that with whatever signs or cues or patterns your child is showing. Just keep experimenting and see if your child's going to sleep easier and faster, less fussing, because that's actually going to be a key to helping your child learn to put themselves to sleep. It's awesome. Not only does it help make the naps go better, it can also be a really great opportunity. So I'm just going to interrupt myself a little bit right here. And interruption helped me remember something else, but I'll try to come back to it. So I used to always see babies do this great thing where they could just be laid down to play, and then they get so comfortable in their cribs and their bassinets. I didn't say that right. Lay down in their bed, wherever they're sleeping, a lot to play. And then at some point, the baby becomes so familiar, we can lay baby down to play around the time that you see those first sleep cues. Or say you know that your child always goes to sleep after 45 minutes. So around 35, 40 minutes, you lay your child in there to play and they fall asleep. It is one of the most beautiful things ever. It's one of my favorite ways to teach babies to put themselves to sleep. And that is why I start so early, because this is something that works really well when you start early. I know it looks like I only have one hand, but I'm holding paper, so. Anyways, I just love that tool. It's really great, but it doesn't work on all babies. And I actually learned this when I first started my business. I was helping my husband's cousin, and she said, when my baby's playing, he just starts to get fussy. And so if he's tired, he fusses, it's not working, what do I do? Well, that was my eye-opener. It was like, okay, some babies just have to be held. And of course that's true. Some babies have to be held to calm down. If they get tired, they really desire that closeness, the physical closeness to you. So make sure that you're giving that. If your child is laying there and playing, getting sleepy, you can pick up your child and hold him and calm him down. But then when he's calm, you want to lay him back down. So there's something called pick up, put down, and that is for easygoing angelic babies. So the same babies who would learn to put themselves to sleep from playing would probably learn to put themselves to sleep from just picking them up and laying them down over and over. And the lady who made that method, her name is Tracy Hogg. She passed away, but she's the author of Secrets of the Baby Whisperer. I think that's what it's called. And her method actually says to keep doing that. Like, every time you put your child to sleep, you can start at bedtime. You would do it during the night. You would do it the next day, all day long. And then the next night, you would just keep putting your child down, pick them up, comfort them, put them back down until they fall asleep. And that's a method that people use to teach their babies this. But I do that sort of thing with limits, because I know some babies just get stressed and upset and it just ticks them off. So don't do that a long time. If your baby can be picked up and put down a few times, and you do that consistently, you might be able to get your child to fall asleep pretty easily in their bed. But if not, just know that you might have to do it longer, or you might need another method. But it's definitely worth a try. If you just did that a few times and your child was able to learn to put themselves to sleep a few times regularly, consistently, keep doing it. Anyways, so there's some little tricks, some things that help. The reason it matters to help your child put themselves to sleep is that is going to be an important skill for them to feel confident and able to put themselves back to sleep in the night, to be able to put themselves back to sleep in the middle of a nap, because they're switching sleep cycles, or they're sleeping lightly and just, starting to wake up when it's not time yet. Totally normal stuff. And people love to hold their babies till they fall asleep. People love to rock their babies till they fall asleep. But once a child becomes about 4 months old or 6 months old, that can become a huge addiction to a baby. And some of them just don't know how to put themselves to sleep, and they rely on you that way. And so you don't want your child waking up every sleep cycle in the night. You don't want your child to become super needy. I see it every single day, multiple times a day. Okay, so believe me on this. You want to try while they're young. Okay, so I have notes, but I'm going all over the place in my thoughts. One note I want to make is that newborns really shouldn't be awake more than about an hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half. So that's up to like 12 weeks old. If you have a child who's awake like 3 or 4 hours straight during the day, or 5 or 6, and they're like, you know, a month old, 2 months old, I hear that all the time. And some people are like, my child's just not a sleeper. Well, it's probably because your child has high energy, and that means they have a really small sleep window. And then when they miss that sleep window that you're not seeing because they have subtle sleep cues, they're going to go a little crazy on you. Their body produces cortisol and adrenaline to help them stay awake. And so then it takes another 45 minutes or an hour and a half for that to wear off before they can sleep again. So your child is running on adrenaline and cortisol, which makes it harder for them to go to sleep at night. So having your child sleep more often, frequently during the day, will actually help them sleep well at night. And a newborn actually needs like 16 to 18 hours of sleep in a day. 18 as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, they're not going to be awake very much, and that's good. The wakeful periods grow from month to month, and so it will change, I promise. So what you want for a high energy baby is those early cues that we talked about earlier. Yawning and eye rubbing absolutely could be your child's thing, so don't be deterred by that either. I just want to make sure that we know and that we experiment. All right, so I was talking earlier about how some babies will not learn to put themselves to sleep by playing. That would be the babies that are stuck in that 4th trimester mindset of I need to be held, I need to be close to you. The ones that are really physically attached, the ones that need mom's arms to hold them to regulate emotions. That's pretty common too. So the thing that I thought of that I missed and I meant to say is that it's also super common for your baby to have reflux or gas. And all babies have reflux from about 2 to 6 weeks old. So it could be silent, and it could be the kind with the spit up. Silent just means it's like heartburn. It's coming up and down here and burning, and sometimes there'll be a little bit of spit up. But the ones that have true acid reflux, they're the ones that are spitting up all the time or doing the projectile spit up. The ones that have the silent reflux, it's a lot harder to know because there are going to be some signs if it's strong, like arching their back, refusing to eat. But the ones that's more subtle, parents don't always notice that that's what's going on. You might have your child burping hours after they ate in the night, having these wet sounding burps, episodes where your child is writhing and uncomfortable, definitely refusing the bottle even when they're really hungry, and the arching. But also signs of reflux could be sneezing all the time, congested nose all the time, hiccuping a lot. So very different things, but there are posts in Successful Sleep Group. You can Google and look up silent reflux. There's going to be lists of symptoms that you can look up. You want to treat those symptoms. If your child has like a mild case of reflux, then gripe water, probiotics, elevating baby after they eat, elevating the bed, those things could probably help your child enough. But if it's a stronger problem and your child isn't eating very often or eating well, then you need to see the doctor and you need to get your baby on medicine. It's more important for your baby to eat well, to be able to sleep well, than it is that you don't want your child on medicine. Okay, so it's just really important. Okay, it's totally off topic. The gripe water and the probiotics can help with gas as well. People really like gas drops in baby's bottle. When I do gripe water, I usually say to do it half dose once or twice, build the doses up over time, and do it right before they eat, because that way it helps baby digest the food and keep the food down. Okay, totally done with any other side topics. My video is almost over. I just want to say that when a child starts that leap around 14 or 15 weeks, we're looking at 4 weeks of sleep disruptions. So just understand that if your child is not learning what you want yet by about 12, 13 weeks, there's a leap at 11 or 12 weeks. You only have a few weeks, and then there's another leap. You might just have to be patient. When I work with families and they have a really chill baby, one that's less sensitive to leaps, I can help their baby sleep through the night in about 4 to 6 weeks. And then if it's not, it might take a couple months. It might take 2 or 3 months, especially if the child is irregular in patterns like bowel movements, feedings, really, really demanding in nature, sensitive, intense, physically attached. Those babies usually take longer. So that 4th trimester ends, and then you're going to know, so around 12 weeks old, you're going to know if your child is physically attached or if it was just a 4th trimester thing around that time, because I want you to always lay your baby down at least once in the beginning of a nap or a bedtime, and then you can go ahead and hold your baby to sleep, to finish out a nap, because that's probably what your baby needs to be able to sleep. But around 12 or 13 weeks or 14 weeks, if your child is not still a very physically attached baby, the efforts you're making are going to work. It could even work sooner. So 7, 8, 9 weeks, laying your baby down at least once at the beginning of all those sleep periods could definitely help your baby learn to stay laying down and be okay like that. In Successful Sleep Group, there's some tricks, some tips that you can search, help my baby lay down, like sleeping with the sheet or the swaddle against your skin so that it smells like you, using like a rice bag that's warm next to the baby or in the spot the baby lays, softening the bed just a little bit, like with a receiving blanket under the sheet. Trying to think what else. Yeah, I think those are most of the tips, but there's probably more in the group you can look up. So there's some things you can do to help your baby like laying down, but it could just have to do with that physical attachment that your baby has. So teach your baby to put him or herself to sleep, and help your baby go to sleep with the right cues. Help your baby know day from night. Understand personality needs. Understand if your baby's got a lot of energy that you have to act fast and you've got a short sleep window. Understand that concept about 4th trimester and babies that are really physically attached or need you to regulate their emotions. They need you to calm them down physically. So if your child is going through leaps and it's taking a really long time to teach what you want, understand that sometime around 4 to 6 months, even though there's all these leaps and all these things going on, your child is going to learn to sleep a little better, hopefully, because the sleep cycles become more mature. They become more like ours, where they're able to have REM sleep and they're able to have predictable sleep cycle lengths. Naps usually come together really well sometime during that time for most people, except for people in my group. So it's going to take patience. It is. Do everything you can. Pick a book that you love and then be patient. See what your individual child needs and how long your child needs to learn these things. And just so you know, I really love helping families. I love working with families at 4 to 8 weeks old. You don't have to try everything under the sun on your own until your baby's 5 or 6 months old. You don't. If I help you, we can figure things out so much quicker. You can have a child who's sleeping really long stretches, like 6 hours, 8 hours in between the leap periods. During the leap periods, if your child learns sleep habits early, you might just have small disruptions instead of crazy nights. It depends on your baby. Just please sign up for a free call with me. Sorry, I was looking at my notes to make sure I was done. But sign up for a free call with me. On my website, there's so many little buttons that say free call. It's just sweetslumbertime.com. There's a tab that says free call, and then, like I said, look for the buttons. And what you do is you make a call. It's 30 to 45 minutes long. We talk about your baby's history, your baby's personality, the struggles that you're having. I will give you some insight on what I think you should do, and then we'll talk about my services. So you'll learn about the lowest budget. You know, I have a workshop that you can get. You can purchase a half an hour call with me, and that gives you access to my methods. I have 4 methods for teaching babies to put themselves to sleep, and that is the biggest thing that you can do to help your child sleep through the night. So I've made lots of videos about gentle methods and what I believe in, and the main thing that you need to understand is that building permanent sleep habits is what's going to help your child sleep well the whole first year and second year and third year. Using crying methods just means your child will sleep okay for a little while if they work. And then you'll have to reteach your baby using those methods again. Next time there's a leap, next time there's teething, next time there's sickness. It's really, really sad. So let's do things the right way. Take our time, teach your child skills, do some simple things in the beginning, find a book you love and give it a try, see if it works. If it doesn't, then it could be just your child's personality and that they need more creative approaches. Come to me, set up a call, see if I can help you, see if we can figure out a good program that fits you, and then you get to totally figure things out sooner, easier, better, with support, and it's just really enjoyable. So I would love to talk to any of you who would like to chat with me. Please set up a free call on my website. Once again, sweetslumbertime.com. Look for the tab that says free call or a little button, and let's chat. Let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can figure out about your child. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. It didn't work.